Hello, everybody. I'm Frank Lev, and today I have the great pleasure of interviewing Katja von Bauske, and she is a musician, singer-songwriter from Hamburg, Germany. Her songs are great, and her singing and her arrangements are also great. But the reason perhaps that is even more interesting is that she has a very great story behind how she started her first album project. Her job for the past number of years has been as a flight attendant. And what she started doing on her flights was taking her guitar with her and going to open mics in different countries. Now, these were long distance flights. So she was flying to Tokyo, she was flying to China, she was flying to Seoul and, and California. And whenever she would land, she might have perhaps 48 hours. And she would, instead of just going to the hotel and hanging out, she would find an open mic session. And that's how she started getting some performance experience. Now, I happen to be also involved in her story because I was in a street band in Seoul and I saw her walking by with her guitar and I called out to her, "Hey, play with us." And she did. She stopped and she played with us. And that was the start of a couple years of communicating with her and being involved musically with her. So let's let Katja finish the story and tell the details, and let's bring her on to the interview. Katja, are you there?
I am here. Thank you for inviting me. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Nice to
Has been
see
a
you too.
while. So,
Yes, it's been a
yeah.
while. And I understand that there's some exciting things going on with your project these days.
hmm
Tell us about that.
yes. So I was able to finish my first album, and so I'm quite happy that this is released since March this year, 2020. And yeah, so thank you for the introduction first. That's how you say. So if I want to catch up your point where you're at right now, where we met, there was a really, yes, it was more than a coincidence, I would say. Could be like a universal get together where we catched up on a street and you were playing along with my songs in German language, right?
Mhm.
So you had no clue what I would want to play. And you and your band came in really harmonical and so respectful as well, which brought me later on um, to the idea where my wish were grown for having my first album. And I wanted to record it first of all here in Hamburg in Germany. But then I came up with the idea, why not worldwide, so on a worldwide scale. And I had to remember this meeting with you and your band, and I was like thrilled for this idea to go to Seoul first and record one of my songs there. And that's how the journey started for my album. So I went to
Okay.
Seoul first and record one song with some lovely musicians. You gave me some contacts, and yeah, and then I went to Shanghai, afterwards to San Francisco, to Los Angeles, Vancouver Island. Then I went to Paris, to Iceland, Reykjavik, and the last song. So I recorded 8 songs in total in Hamburg. So I went for each of my songs to another city, to another metropolis, and yeah, that's the project about.
Okay, so let me just clarify this for our listeners. So you would go to a city where you basically didn't know anybody, and you would somehow meet musicians either at an open mic or, in my case, on the street, and then you would ask for their help. Can you help me? Can you introduce me to someone who has a studio? I need this kind. I need a drummer, and you would use the local person, their resources, rather than recording everything in one studio. you were going around the world and using musicians from all around the world. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes, kind of. So I knew those musicians beforehand because the journey started 2015 when I first took my guitar with me on my flights. So I was this year, since 1 year, a flight attendant, and so I brought my guitar with me and I jumped into new experiences like making some street music in New York and in Mexico City and Los Angeles and so forth. And you, like you said, on open mics as well, where I met a lot of musicians and I, yeah, got them to know. And when I came up with this idea, I would then contact those people, those musicians, and like you say, ask them for help, or if they want to join the project, if they can give me a contact for like a good studio which is affordable for me, and some musicians, I need this instrument. And that's how it worked out, and worked pretty well. Sometimes was quite exciting because in some cases I had only 1 week to organize everything, because I was not always sure if I can catch this flight. So we have like a schedule, and we would get our schedule for the next month on the 27th of the month before. So sometimes I had really just a short time to organize everything, to be really sure that I can go to this place, right?
And you had to do all of the recording on your layover, which is usually
Yes,
48 hours from the time you land
exactly.
to
Exactly.
the time you take off.
So we had
So,
only 1 day to record.
well,
So
one day.
when we arrived, I would have to sleep, of course, because I was tired as hell. When you fly during the whole day or during the night, so you will be really tired. And then the next day, yeah, mostly 10 a.m. We started recording, and we had only 1 day for everything. So for the creative part and as well the recording part. So we had to finish everything.
That's amazing. Just the organization to get everybody there. And
Mm-hmm.
did it usually work out, or did like somebody didn't show up, like the, bass player didn't show up, or usually everybody came?
Everybody came.
Wow,
Everybody came.
that's amazing. Especially
Yes.
knowing musicians, are not the most dependable kind of
Yes.
people.
But they
Wow,
were. It was lovely.
wow, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, so just to go back to that day that we met, we were playing with a full band. We had
Mm-hmm.
all the amps and mics and everything, and you just kind of sat in with our band. You joined the band. You had a full sound system, and you had a full group of musicians, drummers, everybody who was backing you up. That wasn't your normal experience, was it?
Right. Right.
You were used
So
you're
um
used to playing by yourself in an open mic, right?
yeah, usually so I am a solo artist. I beforehand had shortly experience with the band, but didn't work out so well. And because I had not the feeling that they really understand my music. So on a deeper level,
Mm-hmm.
so on a sensitive part, they were all good musicians. So not to mention, but so my music on some points is quite sensitive. And with the experience I could make with you and your band, that was just mind blowing for me, because I could feel the sensitivity you all of you guys brought into my music. That was really so sensitive. I was amazed,
Yeah,
and that's why I took the courage to open more for this as well, to not take care myself of my songs and the energy I want to deliver with it, right? But then there might be people out there who also can transform it and can really receive it and transform it into their musical language.
hmm and support you.
Yes, the song in this
Yeah,
case.
that particular band, we like to invite people up, so we're used to following people and supporting people. So that was part of the spark. I I think, perhaps, that gave you the idea that, hey, I can do a studio sessions with
Sure.
people. And so how long was it from the day that day to when we actually recorded in Seoul? Was that
That was, I think, half a year later. We
year
met,
later?
I think, in June 2017
Hmm.
or July. So it was summertime. And I came up with the idea early 2018 in January. And
Okay.
then, and I came in June. I think it was 1 year later, because I came 2018 in June back to Seoul for the recording session.
Okay.
Yes. So it was 1 year later.
Year later. Okay. And I remember, of course, the song that you picked to do in Seoul, and I think that song, which is called Starten und Landen, or
Right.
starting, taking off and landing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also has a really interesting story. You want to tell us the story of that song?
Yes. So the song, I have written the lyrics before my very first flight as a flight attendant. I was quite nervous, and I was sitting in the S-Bahn. It's quite like the metro in Munich. And to calm my nerves down, I wrote the text, so the lyrics. And afterwards, the composition was made by myself at home. And so that song is an encouraging, powerful song. So it has the deeper meaning. So it has more levels of meaning. So on a superficial side, you will hear the starten und landen. It's like an airplane takes off and lands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that fits to the new profession I was about to grow in. And yeah, but there is also a deeper meaning that whatever you have in your heart and you want to realize, maybe you're afraid of a little bit, but if you want to realize it and materialize it into your life, then you would have to start first before you can land afterwards. And that's the whole story of the song. And so I choose to record exactly that song in Seoul, because it's always like this new beginning, you know,
So it's
to
very
start
encouraging.
something new.
Go ahead, take the chance that you're going to land somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, which is what you were doing, right? That day you
Yes.
were trying something. And
Yeah.
now also it has to do with your project,
Mm-hmm.
which so it seems like I feel really lucky that I got to record on that song. I think it's my favorite.
And you did a great job with the saxophone.
Thank you. Well, let's just take a few seconds, and we'll take a break here, and we'll listen to the song.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of it. We don't want to give it away, but then we'll just take a little break, and we'll be back in a few seconds.
All right.
Wenn du startest, dann landest du. Wenn du startest, dann landest du. Wenn du startest, dann landest du. Wenn du startest, dann landest du.
Okay, that was great. Wow,
Thanks.
I always get a chill when I listen to that. And just another thing, I noticed that this is the only song that has a saxophone. So I wanted to ask you, as you went to all these different locations, 8 different cities you recorded in, right?
Mm-hmm.
What determined your instrumentation? Like in ours, we had a violin and a sax. So how did you decide who to use in your recording?
Usually I took, like if you have like a band, so the usual instruments like a band would have. And so of course drum, bass player, and sometimes as well e-guitar. And I myself played the acoustic guitar, and of course the singing voice. But some songs I found we would need like a cello or violin, then saxophone, and so on. So, but that was it. So I had no more other instruments. It's like a normal, usual band setup.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
a few of them had a string or a
Mm-hmm.
saxophone.
Yeah, and piano. Yeah, some had as well piano.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And just going back to that soul session, it was so much fun and so much energy in the room. Everybody was excited, and it was kind of like a party. But at the same time, there was recording going on all the time, right? Because
Yes.
we didn't have time to mess around.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was great. And also, there was also a special surprise for everybody at the recording session. Some little gift you brought for everybody from Germany. Want to tell us what that was?
Okay, yes. I came up with the idea to bring everybody some chocolate from Germany. And I told everyone, so I did that in each and every country I went. And afterwards I said, okay, if I can't make it in the music business, I will become a German chocolate dealer.
Yeah.
I make you addicted now for the chocolate.
German chocolate is quite famous, right?
I think so, but I think Swiss much more. Swiss as well. Yes, Swiss.
This was not just like a little chocolate bar. This was like the very high quality, and they were huge.
Yeah.
They were, big chocolate bars. So that was a really special thing. I think it took me about a month to eat mine. It was so big.
What?
Yeah.
I think others, they had it within a day. They were within a day. They ate it all up. They told me.
I had to cherish it, save it.
Okay.
For a long time. Okay, so wow, so some people when they hear about your story, they're reminded a little bit of these a couple other movies that were made. One was called Once, about street musicians, and the other one was called Begin Again. It's a little bit. Begin Again, they recorded in different locations around New York City. You took it to a whole new level. You recorded in different locations around the world. So it's also a very interesting story. Have you ever thought or fantasized that maybe this story could become a movie also?
Yes, maybe. So who knows what comes next? I'm open for everything which want to appear in my life. But first of all, I before had no clue that I would go this far or ever would come up with an idea like this, and to manage it and pull through. I really never thought of that. So and that's funny that you say that you mentioned these two movies, because before I came up with the idea, I had no clue myself. A lot of people told me that I somehow remind them with traveling around the world with my guitar to these movies like Once and Begin Again. So, and it's funny because that because I love as well the movie Once a lot, and one of the actors is Makata Eglova, and really by coincidence I had no clue that this would ever happen because I was not looking for that. And she's now featuring one of my songs on the album, which is crazy.
That's amazing.
That's really crazy because I was looking for a studio on Iceland, Reykjavik, and by coincidence I picked the studio, which I thought was so beautiful, like design wise, it's so great. And yeah, I just texted them and asked if they could imagine and then make me a good price to record. And then I came up, and I saw, okay, it's the studio of Marketa Iglava and her husband. And yeah, in the end, she did play piano on my song, and as well sang backings in German language. So she did a so good job, and I'm quite proud that this happened. But it was really also magical. Yes.
So that was just a coincidence, a gift from the universe.
Yes, exactly.
And I've listened to that song, and there's something special about the way she sings background.
Yeah.
Like she's there and she's not there.
Mm-hmm. And quite emotional. You can tell there's so much sensitivity in, and it expresses exactly the story behind, because the story is really emotional for me. It's like biographical. Yeah, it's like my own history part of my history lies in the song, and she picks that up so beautifully and respectfully as well. And yeah, it comes through. And first time when I was singing to it, and as well when we recorded then later on the video on Iceland, the music video, I had to cry several times myself.
Because she's very sensitive.
Yes, the whole song, the whole musicianship, quite sensitive.
So that takes us to the actual songs again. And how would you characterize your songs? Do they come from a personal experience, something that sparks them? Do they all have some story that you tie to some deeper meaning in life?
Yes.
They're quite metaphorical, a lot of them.
Yeah, they are. So almost every song is quite metaphorical and has one could hear, of course, you as English native speakers, it's a bit hard. You would have to concentrate onto the music side, and I think it lies also in the music, which is, I think, sometimes even better if you don't understand each and every word. Mm-hmm. But if you would understand the words, you could understand the song on a quite superficial meaning, and then there are layers behind and goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And so I don't know why I text like this or compose songs like this. I just do it. But yes, there's always some deeper meaning behind the songs.
So it's a kind of maybe like a diary in a way. Like each song brings back a certain experience or something that you were going through at the time.
Yeah. So, in some way, yes. Mm-hmm. One could see it like this.
I should mention here that your songs are in German, written in German and sung in German. And I understand that this is something that you thought about. I mean, we know that a lot of the world listens to songs in English. Mm-hmm. Also their local language, but English, if you really want to have a big hit, a lot of people would say record it in English or some of it in English, but you decided consciously not to do that. Can you tell us about that decision?
Yes. So my first songs I've written in English language, and but then I found out, and I was a bit afraid of writing in German language, because it's somehow tough to write in German language. It can sound quite quick, silly. Really? It's a special language, and you don't want to go into the direction, we call it like Schlagermusik. Okay. It's it's not my
beer hall music or something like that. Country music or beer hall music. Americans would understand it as something in the beer hall, kind of old-fashioned.
Yes, like
Umpa, umpa, umpa.
And so, but then I tried it out, and it worked out very well. And I figured out that I can express my feelings much better in my own mother tongue. And so when I started then taking my guitar with me into the world, and did use the world as a big rehearsal place for me to make like experiences on the street and on several open mics, which for me was good because I was far away from home as possible. Nobody did understand me. It was just the and they won't recognize me anymore. So for me, it was a perfect place to experience myself on stages and see how my music would, how people would react to it, how I perform it. And then I experienced that people in the world who doesn't understand my language, German, they would like the song. And I would say, oh, that's nice, and that sounds smooth and good. And because usually they knew Rammstein, you know, the German popular band Rammstein, and this sounds somehow harsh. So usually the language German is quite harsh when we talk in German language, but what I was told is that it's not the case when I sing in my language. I don't know why or how, and so I sticked up with that idea.
Okay, and I think you told me once before that everybody sings in English, but hardly anyone singing in German. So why not be somebody different? Do something different and unique.
Yes.
And of course, I think there is some. You're releasing videos. The songs are being released with videos, and I understand that some of them will have subtitles.
Yes, quite soon. I think next week or so I will release some of them with English subtitles. Yes.
So that if non-German speakers want to understand the meaning, they can do that, and at the same time they'll hear the German language.
Yeah.
Which is what it is. German, which is I like German. I like the sound of German. I understand that one of your first experiences of playing on the street, was in New York City. You want to tell us that story?
Yes, that was in 2015, and my first flight in that year was to New York City, and that's, I was shortly before to quit my job because I was afraid that I'm not able to practice anymore and to stick up with my music, because as a flight attendant you cannot create your own rhythm within life, because you always are thrown within time zones. You're here and there, and then you have to sleep, and your inner rhythm is getting crazy. And so, but as a musician, yourself, you have to constantly or regularly stick up with your rehearsal and to practice your instruments. And so I came up with the idea to take the guitar with me. And so it was New York, and I went to Central Park, took as a really nice colleague of mine. She accompanied me, and I was lucky. Yes, flight attendant. Yes, and I was lucky because I was not alone, not by myself. And so, but for me, that was more a test of courage, because it was my very first time on a street ever. And I was happy that the weather was so shitty that just a few people were walking around. And but it was a nice coincidence, and I thought, what a nice sign, because while I was we picked a place close to a little house, which was really, it was open and really nice. I can't describe what's the name in English.
Like a
Anyhow,
gazebo, right inside a gazebo, maybe right inside the park, right?
yes,
Inside. Yeah.
yes. And I wanted to play into that little house because there was like nice acoustic. But then there was like a pastor, like a and he told me, oh, in a few minutes there will come a couple and they will be married here from the UK.
Oh.
And he's doing the ceremony for them. But if he thought it would be a good idea if I would stay around and play there a little bit and sing, because it would be nice for the ceremony.
Oh.
And so I had like it was like a little job from the first moment.
Did they
But
give you some money
no, they didn't. But they
man?
were happy. That for me, that was, I didn't do it for the money. It was just a test of courage.
Maybe
And
another good sign from the universe.
yes, and they were happy as well.
You seem
For
to
them.
get a lot of signs from the universe. Yeah.
Might be.
So let's talk a little bit. We've talked about the first song, Landen und Starten, Starten und Landen, right? Yeah. Sorry about my German. I apologize to my high school German teacher. You were a good teacher. But let's talk about another song, the one that you wrote in China.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that to me, when I listen to that, it seems very political in some ways, but also very personal in some ways. Do you want to tell us about that song?
Yes. That song is my latest single. It just came out a couple of weeks ago with a music video as well. And I've written that song after my very first visit to the Forbidden City in Beijing. And due to the fact I was quite impressed, so that was really huge for me to see that. And so in this month 2017 in January, the company sent me as well to Moscow, to Ankara, Turkey, and to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So I called this month my personal anti-democracy month.
Because all of these places have very tightly controlled governments, or
Sure.
fingers, or
Yes, and so, and because I grown up partly from my childhood as well in the GDR system. It's the east part of Germany. So that song became like a homage to freedom, but more not the freedom and outside, because we all live in different systems, right? And you can also live in a system which has superficial freedom, or where you can be free, but if you want to really feel free, it has to change something inside of yourself. So freedom is first of all created within your own thinking, within your own being, and that's the song about. And the song criticizes on one hand the system. So what we see, we are tired of the old system, and now we are about to create our own system. So the song is kind of as well an empowerment to open the own door, so inside yourself, to your own forbidden city. I mean, with the forbidden city, like to create your own space where in the beginning no one else has access, who doesn't want you to be free, you know? So I mean it like this: when you maybe have come up with an own idea, like you want to create something beautiful in your life, right? And then you tell people about it. It might be that they try to drop you down or ignore it, or somehow say it's a stupid idea or whatever. It could drop you, or could get you to the point to lose the idea, or you have no faith no more. You lose the faith to go on. So in the beginning you would want to create your own circle and protect the new thought like a little plant, which needs to be protected before it's strengthened enough and big enough, before you could go and step out into the world and to show it what you want to create. And that's a song about to empower yourself, and that we now are as well on a point where the system is already really shaking. I didn't know that beforehand. And so when something is how can I say, when an old system is going, so we will not go back to the old system, to the old normality. This won't happen anymore. This is not possible right now. So this is also a chance that each and every one of us can ask oneself, what is it? How could the system look like, or how could the planet look like? Our togetherness, the universal togetherness. How would we want to live together? What would we want to create? What do we want to have? How do we want to experience real freedom of speech, freedom of thinking, freedom of traveling, hopefully soon again, and so on, and equality, how do we want to create this within us, was the old system really equal for each and everyone, or were there some people who were the winners and the other did lose? Is that fair? And so on, to ask these questions and to become part of the new system with the own ideas, and that I think each person is asked right now, and we can create it within our own small environment, within our own community. If you maybe like what you share your beautiful music on Facebook, and you create something beautiful with it, and you share with your father, and you are here for your father, and so on. And one could create something other beautiful and help other people, or give a hand, or whatever, and create some positive environment,
Like you do with this album, because all the songs seem very encouraging and spiritual, and there's so much. I didn't realize how much is in that song. Tell us the name of the song, by the way.
Wimpernschlag.
And how would you Wimpernschlag?
Blink of an eye. It's within a blink, and that's really true. Within a blink of an eye, you can change your world, because when you change the inner sight onto a topic, or onto the world, to the system, if you realize something, it's within a blink of an eye. So you can open the door to yourself and to your inner freedom within the blink of an eye. And whatever we create in ourselves, we can create on the outside. So we cannot expect that the outside is changing if we don't change ourselves. It's always from the inside to the outside, not the other way around. So we cannot expect, or say like, well, this is wrong and he is fault, or whatever, if we don't change. So we can take the power back to ourselves and see, what can I do in my life, and what can I change, and create. And we are all creators. That's what I believe.
Wow, there's so much in that song. Let's take a few seconds and listen to the song, and then we'll be right back.
Ein kleiner Wimpernschlag öffnet deine Tür zu deiner verbotenen Stadt. Ein kleiner Wimpernschlag
Wow, that's so beautiful. Every time I hear
Thanks.
it,
Appreciate
I
it.
have a chill. Well, I think we're coming close to our time limit. I know
Yes,
you're
cool.
busy these days with interviews and getting your album out. Tell us how we can find the album, how we can listen to it, and how we can buy it, or what are the different options and places we can go to get it.
Yeah. So I have it here. I can show it right quick. That's my album.
Oh, beautiful butterflies.
Yes. So your name is here somewhere as well in the back, and there's as well a small booklet where with all these cities and lyrics and pictures where I have been. So
Wow.
Vancouver, then here I went to Iceland. Here's Makeda Iglova.
Wow.
Yes, and then here Los Angeles,
Uh-huh.
and
That's you on the beach. You're on the beach in
yes,
Los Angeles.
this was Hamburg, and then I have here Paris. That was lovely as well. Paris was so good. And then here, finally, there you are. That's Frank.
Wow, I didn't realize I'm so handsome. Okay.
Yes, you are. So, and you could get it on the whole album on Bandcamp. So right now, Bandcamp, you could download it there, and as well have pre-listenings, of course, streamable, and on iTunes it's the same. Now you find it as well on JPC, on Amazon. The only thing you would have to keep in mind that right now it's not possible if you would want to have a physical copy. Right now it's not possible to send from Germany into the US states. So we would have to wait a little bit maybe, but just check it. And but you could, of course, order it, and I will check it regularly and until the point it's possible to send again, and I think it will be soon the case. I think US states are talking of reopening the country quite soon, right? So I think this should be possible very soon then.
Okay. And I think we didn't even mention the name of the album yet. So
yes. Projekt Weltweit. Yes, it's Project Worldwide. Projekt Weltweit. It's different way around. Projekt Weltweit. It's like worldwide, Project Worldwide, but it's in the German case Projekt Weltweit.
Okay. So project with a K, and Welt, W-E-L-T, and W-E-I-D-E.
T. Yeah, Weltweit.
Maybe we should clearly.
We could do the link down here below.
We'll do the link, and
yes,
just in case somebody's only listening with audio, your name is Katja, K-A-T-J-A, and then another word, V-O-N, and then Bauske,
Bauske.
B-A-U-S-K-E.
Yes, exactly.
It sounds like Busker. A little bit.
That's how I started.
Maybe that's another little nudge from the universe.
Who knows?
So I should ask, what's next in your future? Are you gonna do you want to tour? Are you gonna make another album? You're gonna continue with the flight attending once this virus dies down?
Yeah, let's see what happens with the airline industry. So this is a little bit insecure right now, but I think, so I work for Lufthansa. They're like the biggest company in the world. So I think they will survive, but it will take, I think, at least 2 or 3 years until it's, so let's see how long I can work there. We will, but I'm quite relaxed right now. And so I want to give a release concert. It had to be postponed due to the corona stuff in March. So this will take place in Hamburg in October. Hopefully in between I will can give my other concerts. I would like to tour, but this all depends on the next developments, right? on a political scale as well. And I plan for sure to record a second album. I would love to go to Iceland and work with Katja Glover again and her husband, because I found that this was really great work and my songs would fit a lot to Icelandic, or matches with Icelandic music a lot, I think as well with the voice and so. And yeah, let's see if that's possible, because it's all about most part as well because of money fact, it's not so how I can afford that. But yeah, let's see, step by step I will stick up with the music, and hopefully more and more can people get to know about it. Yeah.
And I understand you're a student also.
Oh yes, I forgot about that. Yes, I'm a postgraduate student for musicology here in Hamburg. I'm soon finished. I'm about writing my my last essay or like paper, and then I will start to work on my master exam.
And what are you particularly focused on in your musicology studies? Anything in particular?
So it's systematic musicology. It's a big range. So you have different classes. So I took classes in almost each
But what are you
part.
really interested in? What draws you to that field? Is there something you want to do in particular with that field? Or
yeah, let's see. Maybe one day I will combine it with music and becoming a professor, who knows, and teach some students. Might be not the worst thing, because I think it's always good to work with young people. Sure. And to give good give knowledge, or I don't know how to express, but I think it's that's a good thing to do as well. But let's see what comes out of my studies. I'm open. I'm just interested to learn more and more.
Well, you took, not that you took the idea, but there was the thing of Begin Again in New York, and then you took it worldwide. And then I'm thinking, we're starting to go to other planets. Have you ever thought about maybe doing a recording on the moon or on Mars?
No.
Take it to the whole. We have 8 planets. There's 8 planets, and you have 8 songs on your album. So maybe you could be, go to different planets.
I don't know if I'm still alive when this has happened, when this is possible.
Okay.
It might be possible that we get ourselves a cruise ship out of the universe and go visit and go through different stargates and enter right quickly to different universes. This would be fun doing. I could imagine for sure, but I don't know if I'm still alive when this is possible. But maybe my grandchildren one day, if they catch up my idea.
Okay, well, Katja, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Likewise.
And
likewise.
I want to wish you good luck and on your album and the videos and success.
Thanks so much.
Mostly, I want to thank you for bringing your inner vision out to the world, and for sharing the wonderful sounds that you have in your head with all of us. And just thanks for the music. I hope everybody gets a chance to listen.
Thank you as well. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but I have to thank you especially, because without these universal get together, and this would maybe not happened at all. This were these initial steps, which are so important, and I'm so grateful for, because you reached out twice your hand and that's how it was possible. And so that's cool. So we did it together, right?
Yeah, maybe I was a gift from the universe, like all the other gifts you've been getting that have encouraged you to continue this project.
Yes, exactly.
So best of luck, viel Glück and viel Spaß, and
Dankeschön. Vielen
so
Dank.
vielen Dank. Yeah, and I'll be looking for you out there on the internet and where all the great recordings go.
Yes, thank you so much, and
Okay.
talk to you soon, and take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
So end the recording.